Hi, what's up guys? So today we're taking a break on the Impreza, which is right over there, and we are going to be working on the Tundra today. So today what we're going to be doing is I have a air oil separator that I want to install on this thing. Now I already have almost 5,000 miles on the truck, which I meant to put this air oil separator on when I first got it, but time kind of got away from me. I actually have only owned it for a month and a half, and I've already put 5,000 miles on it. But so today we have the J&L OSC Oil Separator Company kit for this actual Tundra. Comes with the bracket, the length of hose that's correct, and obviously the separator. So I watched a quick YouTube video of how they did it, but I'm going to have to scan their QR code that's right here and actually look it up again because I only briefly looked at it. Now what might be a little bit difficult for me is that the truck is so high up that I'm going to have to be crawling in the engine bay. But what I usually do at work is I jack up whatever SUV or truck that I'm working on, and I'll take the front wheels off and I'll lower it back down so the back wheels touch, and then the front can drop down lower. So hopefully I'll be able to reach back, like in the back, without having to really like climb up into the engine bay. Then the other thing is that I need to be careful of the orange high voltage hybrid harness, which I don't think gets in the way. The video that I watched in the install was just a regular iForce motor, not the iForce Max, which is the hybrid version. So I'm gonna have to be careful of that. But besides that, I'm gonna put it up in the air, take the front wheels off, get the engine cover off. I'm just gonna quickly go over that YouTube video again that I watched from actually J&L and start getting into it. Alright, there, and just like that, wheels are off. Now it's pretty much on the ground, and now it's about belly button height the headlights are, so it's a lot easier. I'm still gonna have to climb back there to reach the back stuff, but now for the most part everything in the front I can reach. Alright, so I looked at the instructions, and sorry, I'm struggling a little bit because I'm crawling in my engine bay, but right down in here you can see that clamp that's right there. That's the back of the intake manifold, and that's the PCV hose. So what I realized from the pictures is that I need to pull that hose off and then aim it up and then fit this 90-degree fitting onto it. So in the pictures it looks like no big deal because it doesn't have the hybrid cables in the way like mine does. So it's going to be a little bit more of a pain for me to try and get that hose on. I know I could get that off, but getting the new one on with that cable that runs right against the firewall is going to be a little bit more of a pain. So let me struggle with it for a little bit, and then I'll catch up with you guys after I get it on. Okay, so after probably about 30 minutes of struggling, that the hose clamp that you can see that's directly over there, that is the original PCV hose, which then I have the fitting, the 90-degree fitting that goes into the line that you can barely see come out over there, and it comes out over here. Now I had to unbolt, let's see if I can get the light to stay. I had to unbolt this harness from the manifold to then move that out of the way to then unbolt this bracket which holds this hybrid harness to the manifold as well, and then I undid this one right here, and that I was able to pull that harness towards myself to just barely be able to get the 90-degree fitting into that hose. So in their instructions it's a non-hybrid, so all that orange loom isn't there and it's not in the way, and you're able to get two hands in there and get that fitting in there. So I absolutely struggled to try and get enough room in there to try and fit two hands. I think it's safe to say I was able to get about 1.5 hands in there because this gap right here is too small, so I can't go in from this side. I had to have both hands going through here, and that was not fun. A lot of swearing was involved, and like I said, it took me about 30 minutes, which should have been about a couple minutes worth of work. So that was not fun. So now I'm assuming it's going to be just equally as fun is trying to get the other hose down onto the manifold down there and try and get that on, I believe, with a hose clamp, which probably is not going to be fun. So let me go look at the instructions again, see what's next, and we'll keep on going. Alright, so now I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but now that worm gear hose clamp I have on, that's the other PCV hose that goes to the catch can as well. So that one wasn't as nearly as difficult to get on as the other one. So now I need to button up all of the harness pieces again, and then now we're finally done in the back. Alright, so now I've got the, now that the lines are on, now I have the bracket bolted to the catch can, and it just goes on this harness mount that mounts just to a little bracket that's right here. So I got that on. They say to leave it loose, which it is because it has to clear the engine cover. And then besides that, all we have to do is just connect the two lines. It comes with these two little rubber, I'll call them like little end cap things, that I think they just slide on the hoses and then you slide them into the fittings. So I'm going to do that right now. And then after that, we'll test fit the engine cover. Alright, and now probably for the main reason why you guys are watching this video is that I have a set of the AFE charge pipes for this thing. And also, this is another thing that I ordered way before I actually received my Tundra. And on their site, it says the iForce motor it fits. It doesn't say it fits the iForce Max, which I wasn't aware of until a couple months ago when I just so happened to stumble upon their website and I looked at their fitment guide. So the only thing I can see, just visually by looking at them, is that these have a threaded insert here and a threaded insert here and here on both of them for the harness that comes across, which these are the two charge pipes right here. So two of the threaded inserts go for this harness right here up on top, and then there's a bracket on either side of that coolant crossover pipe over there that it bolts onto as well. But the hybrid motor has this harness as well, and that is also bolted to it, and that looks like it goes down to the AC compressor. So it's not going to have a spot right there to bolt onto the charge pipe, which I'm also really hoping that the charge pipe itself is still the same shape, and hopefully it still goes in the same direction, which it kind of looks like it does. So that's what I'm hoping for. If that's the only thing that's going to be different, I can just run a zip tie through the threaded hole right here and just zip tie it to the charge pipe. So if that's the only thing that's different, then this should just go together. So this side doesn't look too difficult. The turbo is right down. You guys probably won't be able to see it, but it's right down in there. Charge pipe comes up to the bypass valve and then up into the intercooler. So this side doesn't look too difficult. This side, not too difficult, but we have this giant coolant reservoir in the way. So if I can do it with the coolant reservoir just sitting right there, then I will, which more than likely will probably be the case. But obviously just up there, it bolts on, comes down, the bypass valve is right there, and then it comes down to the turbo, which is that down in there, that longer hose clamp, which the hose clamp itself is right there. So, and then I'm assuming that it gets just pulled out through the top, and then the AFE kit comes with obviously these nice wrinkle black charge pipes, but then it also has all of the silicone hoses and hose clamps that go along with it, and then looks like some hardware too. So let me I'm gonna take all that stuff out, lay it all over the table, and then we'll see what parts go where. Oh, and then also at the same time I have a set of TRD air filters that I'm gonna throw in at the same time. One other thing that I want to see if I can maybe do is that the turbos aren't too loud on the car. Like I can hear them, but not like how I'd want to hear them. And eventually I do want to buy the AFE cold air intake kit for this. But for now, since I have those TRD filters, I want to utilize them. So the inside of the airbox has this, like, what I'd consider a muffler. So it has this like sound deadening material, like cloth, that's in here, and it's blocked by this like plastic like grid stuff, but I can move it, like it's not like fully attached, so it looks like it's just plastic riveted on in each corner. So if I could just take a drill bit and just drill that little plastic rivet out, I should be able to pull this whole thing out, and hopefully that should technically add some turbo noise, since this right here is actually absorbing some of the sound. So we're going to do that at the same time. That'll be before we put the airbox back in. Alright, so I got the driver's side one out. It wasn't actually too difficult to get out. I just got to swap over the bypass valve, and then we will be on our way to installing this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the 2 silicone hoses on this one just like it is right here, and I'm going to pretty much just assemble it. And then I also have to put this plug in. I guess this is for like if you wanted to run like a temperature sensor or something like that, but the stock one doesn't have anything right there, so nothing is going in. So they supply a plug that I just have to put some Teflon tape on, and then that'll be all set. But like I said, I'm gonna put all the hoses on just loosely, and then we're gonna get this thing going back in. Okay, so I am out of breath from having to do this, but if I could recommend one thing out of all of this, is to get some grease, like some all-purpose like synthetic grease. Get something like that to be able to coat not only just the silicone, the inside of the silicone hose, but coat the actual pipe itself, because all of these are like, the pipe is like bigger than what the silicone hoses, and none of them want to go on, and it is an absolute nightmare. So this side is now 100% on, besides just plugging things in and attaching the harness. So now I'm going to jump over to the other side, struggle to get that one out, and hopefully it goes a little bit easier. Okay, not much you can see, but it is now the AFE one that is in there. So you can see it down on the turbo, and the pipe is right there. This one, obviously the coolant reservoir is kind of in the way, so you can't really see much of it, but one thing that I wanted to make note was that the bypass valve connector was about right here, so I had to just very, very carefully pull a little bit of wire out of the harness right here to then be able to clip it in. So it seems like it's kind of supposed to go more closer to the engine, but you can't see it, but down there you can't see it, but it's actually contacting. Okay, so my camera died, so now I'm on the GoPro. I've got both of the lower portion of the air boxes in, but this one has the TRD filter in it, and then this one you can see, well, you can't actually see, hang on. It doesn't have that sound like absorbing material anymore, so I was able to drill out those rivets around all the edges, and then this is what came out. So you can see it's like a cloth, and then this side has the honeycomb. So I was able to just drill out the rivets, and they were able to go right in. So now I'm just gonna grab the other filter, and we can put the upper intake boxes back on, and then we'll be good to go. Alright guys, so it's the next morning. Last night all of my cameras literally just kept on dying. So I had to switch from this camera that I'm using to then one of my GoPros, and that one literally died when I was trying to film like 2 seconds of it. And then I had to use my other one, and that one eventually died before I could film an outro. So next morning, everything's charged up. So the charge pipes, I didn't film that much of it because I saw that my batteries were dying, and I was kind of just trying to rush through it, which I know wasn't probably the best for instruction, but I'll give you guys like a little bit of an overview on the charge pipes right now. So, like I said yesterday, the only thing that I was able to spot that was different, that the AC compressor has the hybrid harness that goes to it, since this one, the engine will shut off, the AC compressor will still need to turn, so it's electric, it's not belt driven. So besides that, the charge pipe didn't have a mount for that, which is fine. I just zip tied it and it's not going anywhere. Besides that, everything else fit pretty decently. In the video, I said that I had to pull the bypass valve harness on this side just a little bit because I couldn't get the charge pipe to fully fit against the timing cover like the OEM one was, because it's contacting the silicone hose down towards the turbo is contacting the water outlet from the timing cover. So I don't know if a non-hybrid one is like that or if they're both the same and just like, I don't know, the pipe isn't made correctly. Who knows? I'm not really sure, but I was able to get it to work. I had to just pull the harness, like pull like this amount of the harness out a little bit farther, but you had to be, if you have to do that, you have to be very, very careful that you don't pull them out of the connector itself, because then you're screwed. But so that was only thing on this side that was a little, that I had to kind of modify myself on. Other than that, the TRD air filters are in. We took that sound muffler system stuff out of the air box at the bottom, and the turbos are actually decently loud now. I've had some people on Facebook ask if the removing that like sound mat material was actually worth it or not, and for the literally the 5 seconds it took me to just drill out the 4 plastic rivets, and then that piece just comes right out, it was definitely worth the extra turbo noise. And then besides that, I've got the catch can all installed, so I'm happy about this. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I was originally supposed to put this on right when I got the truck, but time kind of got away from me, and like I said, I've got almost 5,000 miles on this thing now, and I've owned it for a month and a half. So I've been driving this thing quite a bit, which it doesn't even seem like I have been, but the miles are racking up quick, and now I'm happy to have the catch can actually installed. And at first I wasn't too excited about how like high up it is, and like kind of like how like I'm very big on OEM plus now, so like ideally I'd want it like maybe like over in this area or like over here, like tucked away so you can't really see it, but because that's how I would build any of my cars. But I do like it right there just because it's easy to service. Like if I need to empty, the catch can is literally just right here. I can reach it, it'll just spin off and then just drop out the bottom. So it's at least easy serviceable, so that's a plus. So I can get over the fact that it's just like sitting on top of the engine cover. Like my OCD really doesn't like the hose that goes over the engine cover, but there was no way for me to try and tuck it underneath the cover. So unfortunately, that's just how it is. I guess I could technically just buy a longer hose and route it around and then meet up with this other hose, but that means I'd have to struggle all the way back in the firewall again, so it's gonna stay like that. Then I've also had people on Facebook asking me if I noticed a gain with the charge pipes that I installed, when I know I've been modifying cars for years. I know just adding charge pipes, it's not going to be like a butt dyno, holy crap, this thing's so much faster type of thing. I honestly, like I was telling people on Facebook, I honestly bought them because I thought they looked cool. Not really going towards like a power gain. I guess maybe long-term reliability they'll be better, just in case of the plastic ones will eventually crack under like heat and stuff. Maybe that would be a possibility, but Toyota seems to have their longevity issues all sorted out. But like I said, pretty much the only reason why I bought them is because I thought they looked cool. Now, if only they weren't like tucked away under the engine cover. I guess you can kind of see the AFE over on that side, and then this one at least you can see. So not that I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna be going to any car shows and popping my hood and having people look at my AFE charge pipes and my TRD air filters, but I mean, it's just something that I thought would kind of look cool. I had some money and I wasted it on this. So that's gonna be it for this episode. That was the first, I'll call it the first major mod video for the truck, which was a little bit of a pain in the butt to install the parts, but it was definitely worth it. It's definitely worth having a catch can, especially on more modern day engines with the direct injection, and the charge pipes are kind of just an added bonus. But so that'll be it for this episode. Don't forget to give me a subscribe, a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.